With only a couple weeks left of the regular season in college football, I wanted to go through my 12-team playoff prediction heading into week 12. And as of right now, these are the 12 teams that I think will make the playoffs from number 1 to number 12. I'm also going to give a prediction for the bracket and who will win the 2026 national title in January. But before we do that, let's look at my top 12 teams. Right now, I have Ohio State going 13-0 as the Big Ten champions, the number 1 seed. I just think this is the team to beat in college football, and if they meet Indiana, I do think they can beat Indiana. I think Ohio State just has the more talented team, and their defense is really good. And really, I don't see Michigan beating them again. I think they win out, so I have them as the 1 seed. Now, as the 2 seed, this may be a surprise to some, but I have Georgia going 12-1 as the SEC champions. And I have them making the SEC title because I do have Texas A&M dropping a game. I have Texas A&M losing to Texas, but I have Georgia beating Texas. So therefore, Georgia would have the tiebreaker. I think they would win the SEC. This is a team that is turning up at the right time. The offense has been very efficient with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. He's underrated, and the run game has been elite. The defense played pretty good against Mississippi State. It was one of their best games all year. If they continue to play better and get better under Kirby Smart, this could be a dangerous team. I have them as my 2 seed right now. As my 3 seed, I have Indiana going 12-1. I think they will lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten title. I don't see anybody in the regular season beating this team. If it was anybody, it would have been Penn State on the road. Penn State played one heck of a game. They're still really talented, let's not forget. I don't think Indiana is a fluke team. The way they dominated Oregon on the road was impressive. Indiana is an all-around solid team. They were good last year. Their 2 losses came to the 2 teams that went to the Natty. But this year, they're even better. Their quarterback is better. And I think they're even more built at the line of scrimmage. So yeah, I have Indiana as my 3 seed going 12-1. As my 4 seed, I have Texas A&M going 11-1. I don't think they'll be in the conference title, but I do think they'll be number 4. A&M could go undefeated and win the SEC and be the 2 or 1 seed. But as of now, I do think they will drop a game, and that game at Texas is going to be a tough one with how Texas is playing. I do think Texas has the potential to beat either Georgia or Texas A&M. I think they'll do it in their rivalry game against Texas A&M, possibly winning a shootout. Texas A&M's defense is good, but they also have holes in the secondary. Steve Sarkisian could draw something up, and I think Texas could beat Texas A&M at home. That's a tough place to play. A&M has had a great year. They can win in many different ways, but I do think they'll drop one game. As my 5 seed, I have Texas Tech going 12-1, winning the Big 12. I think they win out. The way that defensive front has been playing has been impressive. This is probably the best front 7 in America, and if that offense can play up to their standard, if they can run the ball better, this is a dangerous Tech team. They jumped Ole Miss in the college football playoff rankings, so they're going to be above Ole Miss as long as they win out. And they will definitely get extra credit for winning the Big 12. This is just a very dominant Tech team, and I don't see anybody on the schedule beating them. If they meet BYU again in the Big 12 title, they'll be too much for them. So I have Tech as my 5 seed. At number 6, I have Ole Miss. I don't think anything changes. They'll stay right there. At number 6, I have Ole Miss. I don't see them moving up or down unless other teams lose. So yeah, I think Ole Miss is definitely due to win out unless they get upset against Florida or Mississippi State. But none of those teams are very good, and Ole Miss's offense is very good this year. So I'm confident picking Ole Miss to win out and go 11-1. Maybe there's a case for Oregon to jump Ole Miss if they beat USC and Washington on the road, but I am going to keep Oregon at number 7 in the college football playoff rankings. I think they will favor the SEC schedule for Ole Miss. But regardless, I have Oregon as my 7 seed. I think they got their toughest game on the schedule out of the way going on the road at Iowa without their top 3 best playmakers on offense at wide receiver and tight end Kenyon Sadiq. And they had one of their top offensive linemen out. They played in crappy weather conditions and they put up a fight and won that game. And people are sleeping on this defense. Right now, they have the number 1 passing defense in the nation, a top 3 defense in yards per game, and a top 6 defense in scoring. This is a very good Oregon defense, and if that offense can get healthy and turn up, they will be a national title contender and more. At number 8, I have Oklahoma. I think they're going to upset Alabama with that defense this weekend. I'm really high in Oklahoma, and I think coming off of the bye week, John Mateer will play a good game. Oklahoma can beat Alabama in a low-scoring slugfest. I think they get it done. So right now, I have Oklahoma at 10-2. I also think they'll beat Missouri and LSU, 2 teams that aren't that great. Oklahoma's defense is very good, and their offense picked up a run game lately, something Alabama does not have. So I have Oklahoma as my 8 seed. And right behind them, I have Alabama as my 9 seed. I have them going 10-3, losing in the SEC title to Georgia. With them only losing one game in SEC conference play, I do think they'll have the tiebreaker and meet Georgia in the SEC title because Bama did beat Georgia earlier in the regular season. And we got to remember that loss they had to Florida State, so that was out of conference. But losing in the SEC title will not hurt them too much. I just think they'll drop right below Oklahoma because Oklahoma has the head-to-head and Alabama would have another loss. I have Notre Dame at number 10 going 10-2. I don't think Alabama would drop below Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't have a super tough schedule. In the two toughest games on the schedule, they lost, albeit they're playing much better now. If they met Miami again, they would beat them. Notre Dame is a team that could go and win a national title with the way they've been playing. The defense is very good at forcing turnovers. They have definitely been a lot better in the back half of this year, just like they were last season. This Notre Dame team is a good team with an elite Russian attack. Jeremiah Love leading the way. They might make it back to the big stage and maybe they can win it this year, but I don't see anybody on the schedule beating them. I think they went out and go 10-2. And as my 11 seed, I think Georgia Tech goes 10-2. I think they lose to Georgia, but they'll still make the ACC and win the ACC. I still think this is the most consistent and best team in the ACC. And I think they got their bad game out of the way against NC State. Their defense has been pretty mid, but their defense completely collapsed against NC State. It hasn't been that bad this year. And with how good that offense is and how good and gritty of a quarterback Haynes King is, this team should be able to win the ACC. As long as their defense doesn't have a complete collapse, the ACC doesn't have a lot of great teams, but I trust Georgia Tech and this veteran team, and they have a great head coach. I trust their quarterback in Haynes King, so I have them winning the ACC as the 11 seed going 11-2. Same story with South Florida. I think they go 11-2 and win the American Conference. I think they went out, meet North Texas in the American Conference. I think they beat them again. They had that loss to Memphis. It was on the road, though. Memphis is already out of the AAC championship race with 2 losses in conference. And South Florida doesn't have a tough schedule left, so I think they win out. And if they meet North Texas again, I think they'd beat them. I don't think they played a great game against Memphis on the road. I think it was one of their worst performances all year. This is a good South Florida team when clicking on all cylinders, and they have a good quarterback. They are my safe bet to be the G5 representative in the playoffs. The other team to watch is James Madison. If they win out, they should be in. But I do think they're going to slip up somewhere. They have a couple of tricky games. That game against Washington State is not going to be easy. But with that out of the way, let's get into predicting the bracket. Starting off in the first round, number 5 Texas Tech will host number 12 South Florida. Byron Brown is going to be beat up by Texas Tech. South Florida's offensive line isn't the greatest. Texas Tech will control this game and dominate. I think they beat South Florida. The next game is number 6 Ole Miss versus number 11 Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech struggled with a dual threat quarterback in CJ Bailey. Trinidad Chambliss is a beast, and this offense is so good. I think Georgia Tech's defense will crumble in this game, and Ole Miss will probably win pretty comfortably. So I like Ole Miss to beat Georgia Tech. The next game is the 7 seed Oregon playing the 10 seed Notre Dame. I think this is a potential national title preview if they don't meet in the playoffs before then. These are two teams that could go on a run. I think they have the roster on paper. I think they are both very well coached. And like I said, Oregon just needs to get healthy. They have a lot of top targets on offense out that have really derailed them, but their defense is elite and even better this year in the secondary. I'm really high on Oregon. I think they can win with their defense in many games. This is the defensive era in college football. And last year, some might not catch this, but the best defense won every single playoff game. While Notre Dame has a really good defense, I do think their secondary has some holes. And I think Oregon's defense is very good this year, and it is not easy to win at Autzen Stadium. This team is going to be healthy, and they're going to be excited to be playing a first-round home playoff game. So while I think Notre Dame has the team to go on a natty run, I think they meet a very dangerous Oregon team on the road in round 1. I like Oregon to beat Notre Dame. And the next game is number 8 Oklahoma meeting number 9 Alabama once again in a rematch. If they meet again, I do think Alabama could get the win. It's hard to beat a team twice, and I think these two teams are pretty even. I think they both have pretty mid offenses. Alabama probably has more playmakers, though. And both these teams have pretty good defenses. But I will take Alabama in the rematch. Kalen DeBoer is a great head coach, so they'll get it done. We move on to the second round games. Number 1 Ohio State will play number 9 Alabama. And while a lot of people think Alabama is a national title contender, I just don't think they're that good. I don't think they've played a truly very good team outside of Georgia, but they always beat Georgia. That was earlier this year. And I think Georgia's been playing better since then. And I just think Alabama, with that weak Russian attack, they're not going to be able to do much in a game against Ohio State. Ohio State's defense is very dominant, and they have the perimeter attack to take advantage of Alabama. I like Ohio State to beat Alabama. The next game is 2 seed Georgia versus 7 seed Oregon, and Georgia's defense is not as good as it used to be. I really trust Oregon to beat Georgia in this game. I think their defense is elite, and I think their offense will be clicking in the playoffs. The next game is 3 seed Indiana versus 6 seed Ole Miss. Ole Miss might have as good as an offense or even better than Indiana, but defensively Indiana has the edge. Ole Miss's defense is not good at all. I think Indiana is a complete team and they will beat Ole Miss. Now, I think this game would be an even matchup. Number 4 Texas A&M playing number 5 Texas Tech. A lot of people aren't buying into the hype with Texas Tech, but I think they can go to the national title. I think there's a lot of teams in the playoffs that could. But personally, I have to trust Marcel Reed and his playmaking in this game. While Texas Tech has a very, very good defense and a good team overall, they don't have a super good quarterback. And I think Texas A&M, with their talent, could be able to beat Texas Tech. I think they have a very good offense and could score some points. While Texas Tech might struggle to start fast in this game like they have this year offensively, I like A&M to win this game. The next game is in the semifinals. Number 1 Ohio State beating number 4 Texas A&M. Ohio State is undefeated up to this point, but it's going to be tough to go undefeated through a whole season. You now have to play an inspired Texas A&M team that I think is complete. I think they are good in every area of football. There's times where they can play a little weak on defense, but I think A&M is very well balanced. Ohio State hasn't really played great competition this year and might catch up to them. It is not easy to go undefeated in this landscape, but I think Texas A&M has the team to beat Ohio State in the playoffs. The next game is number 3 Indiana playing number 7 Oregon. It is hard to beat a team twice, and if these two teams meet again, I think Oregon wins. So with that being said, I am taking Oregon to beat Indiana. And now we move on to the national title game. Number 4 Texas A&M will play number 7 Oregon. I'm going to take Oregon. I think they have an elite defense, one of the most underrated defenses in the nation, and I am trusting in this offense to turn up. I think the talent is there. I think this is a very dangerous team. They have so much talent offensively. They have young talent, but once they get healthy, this will be a team that can turn up definitely. The way they have been able to win games with their run game and defense alone has been impressive. They ran for over 200 yards on one of the better defenses in the Big Ten in Iowa. They have not been letting loose in the passing game because they haven't had the tools. It's been bad weather. They had their top 3 targets at wide receiver out against Iowa. But Oregon has been battle tested, and that is going to pay off in the long run. They kind of remind me of Ohio State last year. Ohio State had those bad offensive performances against Michigan, Nebraska, but we knew the talent was there. And I think this Oregon talent is there. We saw glimpses against Rutgers, against Oklahoma State. I think Oregon wins the national title with Dan Lanning. They're just a very well-coached football team. The staff has been there for years. Give me Oregon to get it done and beat Texas A&M in a high-scoring shootout in the national title. But anyways, that is going to do it for my 2025 college football playoff prediction for Week 12. You guys let me know your playoff predictions down in the comments below. And let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. And also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.